Welcome back, everyone, to day 12 of our React Explainer. I'm absolutely thrilled you're tuning in today because we are crossing a massive threshold. Up until now, we've been building these beautiful, perfectly isolated components, right? We've mastered local state, we've built some seriously slick UI, but our apps have kind of been living in a bubble. Today, we're setting the stage to transition from those local components to actually working with real-world external data. And let me tell you, this is where your applications truly come alive. Okay, let's dive into this. Have you ever stared at that perfectly styled list component you just spent hours building and thought, well, how do I actually get live information in there? Like, how do our static, hard-coded components become dynamic? That is exactly what's at stake in today's explainer. We are going to build the bridge between your React application and the vast expanse of the internet. So, here's our game plan for today. We'll start by moving beyond static data. Then we'll get hands-on with the Fetch API, followed by looping arrays in JSX. After that, we'll tackle the big shift to server state and wrap up with managing caching and lifecycles. It's a clear, step-by-step roadmap to get you building real-world apps.
All right, part one, beyond static. Let's talk about moving past hard coding.
Now, you've made incredible progress with local state, which is awesome. But hard-coded applications, they have some pretty strict limitations. They just don't update when the world changes. And the reality is, applications in 2026 absolutely must be highly interactive and data-driven if they're going to survive. Users expect real-time updates, they want seamless interactions. To build those scalable, modern apps, we really have to solve the fundamental problem of pulling live, dynamic data from a database out there and dropping it right into our user interfaces here. Moving on to part two, using the Fetch API. This is your ultimate bridge to external data. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how we cross that bridge. We rely on a built-in browser tool that operates on three core mechanics. First up, you make the request to a specific URL. Second, since the internet isn't instantaneous, we all know that, you wait for the response to come back. And third, you parse it. Usually this means turning a raw JSON string into a usable JavaScript object. It's a really clean, asynchronous pipeline. Let's ground this with a real-world example from our sources, an app called NewsMonkey. To build something like this, you first need to grab a Fetch API key from a service, like News API. Then you use that Fetch API we just covered to practically retrieve the articles. But hey, it's not just about getting the data, it's about the user experience, right? You've got to handle that loading time by showing a spinner, and you definitely need to manage all that data by implementing previous and next buttons for pagination. Which brings us to part three, looping arrays in JSX, how we actually render all this dynamic data. So think about this. Once you fetch 100 news articles, how do you actually display them without writing 100 separate components? On the left here, you see the old, tedious, hard-coded method. Manually writing out every single component, yeah, total nightmare to maintain. But on the right, that's the absolute power of JSX. We take the array of fetched articles stored in our state, and we literally map or loop right over it. In just a few lines of code, we can dynamically display an infinite number of news item components directly from our state. It's so elegant. All right, part four, the shift to server state. Let's talk about managing all that incoming data. You know the saying, with great data comes great responsibility. Fetching and looping is just step one. We really need to define what we mean by server state. It's data retrieved from an external backend, sure, but it is not just a variable you set and forget. It involves managing the entire API data lifecycle. That means handling the fetching, the caching, the background updates, and revalidating that data, so your UI stays perfectly synced with the server. It is a completely different beast than just toggling a UI button. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how we categorize state based on 2026 standards. We've got local state, which lives right inside a single component. Think UI toggles or form inputs. Then there's global state, shared across the app for things like auth or user preferences. And finally, server state, which is completely dedicated to that API data lifecycle we just talked about. Responses, caching, pagination. Making these different responsibilities obvious is absolutely key to building a solid app. In fact, modern application design guides make this super clear. They explicitly say, server state is the new priority. In 2026, we are totally past the days of dumping all our data into massive, bloated global stores. Modern applications prioritize intelligent server state management instead, just to keep everything lean, fast, and easily maintainable. And that leads us to our final section, managing caching and lifecycles, ensuring your app stays robust. So, how do we actually put this into practice? When you use modern tools for proper server state management, the benefits are basically immediate. First off, it completely prevents unnecessary refetching. I mean, if you already have the data, why ask the server for it again? It keeps your UI perfectly in sync with the backend, automatically handling those background updates. The user just sees the freshest data without lifting a finger. Ultimately, this drastically cuts down on bugs, reduces the complexity of your code, and massively improves performance. So, the crucial point is this: separate your UI state from your business data. And whatever you do, never ever duplicate your server data into your client state. Seriously, keep your local state local and let dedicated server state tools manage your external data. Mixing them up is literally one of the most common ways developers introduce bugs and sluggish performance into their codebase. Which leaves us with a pretty provocative question to consider as we wrap up day 12. Take a hard look at your current projects. Are you treating your complex server data like it's just simple local data? Because if you are, it is definitely time to upgrade your state. Applying these modern 2026 patterns will completely transform how your React apps handle the outside world. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I genuinely cannot wait to see what you build with these new tools.